The Greenwich Economic Forum is underway this week, and our next guest stepping away from the forum to join us and give us his perspective on what it takes to build a successful business. Brad Jacobs is the chair of the logistics firm XPO and has a new book titled How to Make a Few $Billion, breaking down the biggest lessons he's learned from his over 44-year career. That book will go on sale in a few months, but I'm told you can pre-order it now if you would. Brad, great to have you here in Studio 2.
Fantastic to see you.
You know, I was thinking about the title of your book and the expertise that you have, particularly when it comes to M&A activity. And I actually tried to go, one of the great things about the terminal, you could kind of go through and look at all the past acquisitions that you made at XPO, at United Rentals. I lost count after like 502 or something. I mean, it was a lot. You've been very acquisitive, and I'm curious as to what you've learned from that history of M&A activity that can be applied to just regular folks who maybe are, as your title says, trying to make $1 billion.
Well, first of all, great to see you.
Yeah.
I learned a lot because I did about 500 acquisitions, teams I've led, executed, and then
So I got close to
you
it.
got
to
close.
the number.
You got close. You did a good job.
All right.
And I made pretty much every mistake you can make, particularly in the earlier ones. But what I learned mainly from M&A, and I write about it in the book a lot, is my approach to M&A changed a lot from when I did it in the earlier years to later. In the earlier years, I postured a lot, I played cool, I made the seller wait a few days or over the weekend and sweat it out. And I just realized all I was doing was annoying the sellers. I wasn't accomplishing getting the deal done. So I just became completely transparent. When I liked a deal, I just said, I really like this company, I'd like to buy it. And here's the price and here's the terms that work for me. Does that work for you? So that was a big change in my approach towards developing a relationship and getting a deal done.
When you are trying to get deals done and you're trying to sell the potential company that's being acquired or the executive there, is it always just pretty much a financial proposition, or is it more some of the, I guess, less tangible factors that ends up swaying that deal?
It's much more than, I mean, financial has to work.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers have to work, it has to be accretive.
Right.
It has to be a financial reason to do the transaction. The price has to be right. But it has to be much more than that. There's going to be a real strategically compelling reason to do it. There has to be a rationale to doing it. What is that bringing to the table? Like, why does that change the company? What will our customers think when they read the press release, we bought that company? Will they love that? Will they go, oh, it's just a distraction? What kind of people are we getting into the company? How can we apply our technology to that company in order to grow it? So there's a lot of different things. It's not just financial.
And how would you say that the environment for M&A is right now? When you think about some of the defining characteristics of today's economy, high interest rates, high inflation, regulatory concerns, how has that affected the M&A appetite out there?
It's very different in different industries. So some industries are already well consolidated. There's not much to buy. Private equity has gone in, they've bid up prices, and now private equity owns a lot, so they're kind of selling. There's other industries that are less along the curve, and they're earlier in the stage of consolidation. They're more fragmented. There's plenty of things to buy at different sizes. And I'm going to be spending my time on my next company consolidating an industry that has similar characteristics to what we had before. In other words, it's large, it's fragmented, it's growing, there's synergies, there's advantages to being big, there's economies of scale. That's the kind of things I look for.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the current makeup of industries, because if you think about the strategy that you took with United Waste, United Rentals, and XPO, it was really targeting some of these companies that could be rolled up into a market leader. When you look at the landscape right now, are there any industries that fit that profile?
Yes, but I'm not going to tell you which ones because I don't want competition. when I select the one I want to do, obviously I'll tell you that, and then I'll tell you the other ones that I overlooked and why I overlooked them.
Well, I tried.
You tried, but I am curious about the competition here. I mean, you mentioned private equity. You obviously also have your own private equity firm here. I feel like there's just a lot more competition now for deals, given how much money has flowed into this space. Is that not what you're saying?
There's always been competition. There's always been billions and billions of dollars.
Is the competition different now in terms of just I guess, the types of people that you're up against, and more importantly, I guess, what people are really looking for out of these acquisitions? It's one thing if you're saying, I'm running a company like XPO and I want to go buy another freight company. It's a whole other thing for a private equity firm to come in and say, I want to do that same deal.
So there's two categories of buyers in general. There's sponsors, there's private equity guys, and there's strategics, there's corporations. That changes to where you are in the cycle, depending on interest rates, depending on what's going on, depending on growth, just depending on how much money is in the. So it changes, and sometimes it's balanced. I would say it's more or less balanced now. I would say there's more emphasis on strategics in most industries, but not all, because interest rates are up. So for the sponsors who rely on leverage, that's a bad thing.
All right, Brad, we got to leave it there, but really enjoyed this conversation. Hope to see you again soon. That is Brad Jacobs, chairman of XPO and author of the upcoming book, How to Make a Few $1 Billion.